first of all, and of course, Prof has joined us to share his own thoughts on the budget that we expect on Wednesday for Ghana. Prof, and I'm guessing in the first place, if this was the UK, if Ghana was in the UK, this finance minister would never be the one to deliver this budget. It would have been long gone, I believe.
No, he'll be long gone. He'll be long gone.
Does it surprise you that every attempt to get him out has failed?
Well, I mean, it's real politique at play, and it doesn't surprise me one bit. As I've always indicated in other platforms, you've seen that the entire financial landscape of this country has had what I termed a data bank capture, where you have the finance minister, who is an ex-data bank executive, sitting at the finance ministry. You have someone at the IGPC, Promotion Council, who is from the stock of the data bank. The one who runs the Securities and Exchanges Commission from the data bank stock. Then some few years ago, we had one who sat at the BOG's board who was also from the data bank stock. So what it tells you is that this is not coincidence, it's deliberate. And in corporate governance terms, we'll term that as problematic and a data bank capture of our financial sector or landscape in Ghana. So it surprised no one who has acumen to watch the financial market that he's still at post.
But at least there were attempts politically to remove him. You said that is dangerous. The fact that they have a grip on the financial sector, that in itself is dangerous. Yep. That should have been a cause for him to be removed in the first place, shouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It defies corporate governance, basic corporate governance in and of itself. That we are in a market that's not probably very sensitive, but more political than being market sensitive. So that's something we can easily get away with.
Well, having said that, he'll be reading the budget on Wednesday. I know you know how Ghana is. In fact, everybody who hasn't even been to Ghana in 4 years has an idea the situation Ghana finds itself in. Now, first of all, what's your assessment of where we are?
Well, it's a very precarious situation, quite a delicate subject to have now, because we all want the economy to do well. And the conversations we are having, mind you, do have repercussions and impacts on the economy. I'll tell you, a few weeks back, I was on a flight to Ghana. I only returned last Monday. And I sat by this Danish venture capitalist. So we got talking about Ghana. And we're like, okay, well, he's been trying to bring business in the last 3 years or so, and it's been very difficult because he's been trying to bring investors in. I asked why that is. He said, look, well, these investors are reading more Financial Times about Ghana than any other person. So when you go to them, they point you to pages of the Financial Times and what has been reported about Ghana, or they refer you to Reuters and the likes of that. So what it means is that there has been an A being really looking very great for us. Now, the fundamental thing that we're missing also that was to be. Now, what happens in reality is that you have people hedge against this moment. People stocking money or forex wanting to use it for this moment, because once this payment was done, the CD would probably, have some healthy performance for a couple of days, weeks, or months. We never know until the incident happens. But given that that had failed, what it means is that these forex holders are going to hold back. Waiting for this tranche to come in.
Well, we seem to be having difficulties with Prof.
So what is going on?
Hello, Prof.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, hello,
okay.
I can still hear you.
Now it's better. And even the story we're telling, we didn't hear the full story as to what the opinion of the Danish man was. So I don't know if you can.
Oh, so sorry.
You'd have to recap all of it.
Get back.
Hello, Doc.
Oh no. Hello.
Hello, Doc. Yes.
Hello.
I can hear you now.
I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know whether the problem is from me or from you.
okay.
Okay, and now I can hear you. Let's try again.
All right. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so what I was saying was that I was with a Danish businessman on a flight to Ghana a few weeks ago. So we got talking about investments in Ghana. He's a venture capitalist. Then he tells me, look, I've been operating in the Ghanaian space in the last 25 years or so. In the last 3-4 years, I have been struggling to bring investors into the country because nobody wants to come in, right? And each time I speak to them, they refer me to pages of the Financial Times of how bad the economy is, or I'm being referred to routers of how bad the economy is. So what I'm invariably saying is that the international community, or for that matter, the international financial market, has lost confidence in Ghana. And the interesting bit is that this is ebbing as we talk now. So, for example, I give you a classic example of the second tranche of the IMF facility that was to come in. How did we miss that? We've just returned from Marrakesh from the IMF annual meeting this October. These events do just not only allow you to attend or participate in. On the fringes of it are negotiations, right? We've not been able to come out with the concrete issues of our international debt restructure. And one of the fundamental issues any gauger of the market could say is that China is an outlier when it comes to the G20, right? And we're using the G20 framework. The Paris Club may be easy to engage, but China is reserved when it comes to debt restructuring because they are more commercial than writing up the debts. So if we don't have a strategy to engage China, things would stall for a very long time. Or before they come in, the impact of the tranche would not have been felt. Why do I say this? A lot of businessmen, local businessmen around town, let's say a businessman who is into water production, wants to buy a new pump to expand, but this is peg at the dollar. And he goes like, okay, well, I'm going to wait. The second tranche comes in, the city gains a bit of a health, and in that case, I would be able to buy it at a reduced price. But I have my Forex sitting under my bed at home. It's not being pumped into the economy. So what has just happened is that another opportunity to inject confidence back into the economy has been lost by the fact that we've just missed that tranche again. And people who have money and would have rather have invested in the economy would hold back because now the economy is unpredictable. Gone are the days when you could hazard a guess and be very confident, put your head under the guillotine and say that, look, this is happening with the IMF. But those days seem to have been long gone. And post-pandemic, cheap money is nowhere in the financial market. It's going to be difficult, right? So if we cannot use these opportunities to realign ourselves and to restructure the economy, to welcome new money, which is already hard to get, then I think that we are in for a whole lot of trouble ahead of the coming years. And mind you, next year is going to be an election year, and it comes with its own beast altogether.
And on this matter of the IMF, the money that we missed, I guess for a budget, everybody would like to know, because so far the finance ministry has been tight-lipped about exactly where we have gotten to in terms of getting a deal with the people we owe externally. And I'm guessing some information will be very critical to perhaps rebuilding confidence. Would that not?
Yes. Yeah, that would. And I'm surprised that they are tight-lipped. And more so when there's been a big event, which was the IMF, the World Bank annual meeting in Marrakesh, which we attended. So what I say is that, okay, well, returning from Marrakesh, you should tell us from the fringes of Marrakesh, we did have engagement with China or with Beijing and the Paris Club, right? We are formulating some, agreement. The detail has not been reached, but just pumping this information out in and of itself gives a certain level of confidence. But nothing of that sort has been said, and that tends to give an indicator of the kind of attitude the managers of our economy do have towards restructuring or having a rebound of an economy.
Then there is the matter of, and I'm sure you've also heard about this matter of the syndicated cocoa loan, that our attempts are so far failing. Do you understand? Does it add up for you why we are unable to do something we've done for decades now?
Well, for me, as I spoke to one of your sister platforms, I think a few days ago, I did mention that the cocoa syndicated loan, it's a ritual that we go to the financial market, the capital market, to raise every September. First time in a very long time in the history of Ghana, we've missed out on it, and we have to resort to purchases to raise 200 million. Again, that tells you the abating confidence on our financial sector, and for that matter, because mind you, when you're dealing with countries around the world or sovereign states, the risk is deemed as, less or not very risky, or they are not seen as very high risk engagements, and banks are happy to throw themselves. But for the first time, Cocoa syndicated loan, we are missing out on it because we're not able to raise money from the capital markets. That again is problematic, and that is indicative of the fact that the financial market, or for that matter, the international financial market, has lost confidence in us.
Because there were suggestions that, well, the economy might not be doing well, but Cocoa Board already has a history of taking the loan and paying it back, so that shouldn't be a difficulty. If we didn't have an issue there, are you suggesting that it is still the matter of the economy that makes everybody reluctant and suspicious?
Well, the point is, we are quite in a situation where everyone becomes wary of our economy, in the sense that we had to restructure domestic bonds and what have you. We are trying so hard to renegotiate international bonds. So let's say if we're a businessman, because these are people who they are not Father Christmas. They turn around to invest monies into these issues or bonds and what have you, and they're waiting to recoup on it. So if I'm a business person or I'm part of the capital markets, I'm an institutional investor, what have you, I'll watch the market and see how I'm being or how my peers who already exist in the market are being treated. And if this is what it looks like, I'm definitely not coming in. And if you look at the restructuring and the conditionalities of the IMF, it's going to be difficult times ahead. And what it means is that the private sector may struggle, right? Because what is happening is that most of the revenue we are raising so far in taxes and other revenue avenues that we do have are going on to service loans and other investment facilities that we are unable to. And the interesting of fundamentally, right, what we ought or we are all missing is that this government in the last 7 years have not invested in a single project or program that has a payback, that is bringing something back into the economy that would have allowed or given it some respite at this time. And that, again, is worrisome. You look at flagship programs like NAPCO, right? We pumped huge amounts of money that brought nothing back in. 1D, 1F, nothing is coming in as far as this is concerned. And anyone within the business cycle or a project manager will tell you that the project life cycle of a business, probably in 5 years' time, should start to return something. How is 1D, 1F doing? $1 million to a constituency. How is that faring? So, they came at the back of the promises, and in that time, nobody listened to me. But I said that the web that they designed of campaign promises was going to consume the government. And it looks like the chickens have come home to roost.
And then there's a matter of taxation. You were talking about the private sector. Every businessman is hoping that if nothing at all, not more.
Yep.
Leave it where it is.
Yeah.
From the numbers you're looking at, do they have to? Do they have the situation they are in? Do they have to increase? Do they have to find new ways of generating revenue? Will taxes be an option?
They have no choice. But as to what they're going to look to, it's going to be an interesting perspective. Because, every well we have that can bring up some money is running dry because it's been tied to one thing or another. Right? So even you look at the GET fund, you look at the road fund, right? That has all been mortgaged. Hardly do we ever have a situation that we sit in a country that these are going to be revenue generating ventures that are going. The greatest pool probably that's bringing anything is VAT, right? How significant is that? So it's quite an interesting perspective. I don't know what the managers of the economy are, because back in the day, I think a few years back before, it was because of this tight opportunities to be innovative about revenue collection when it comes to taxation that resorted to e-levy, which didn't go well, which they didn't handle the stakeholder engagement pretty much very well, and we are currently in the state we are in. Right, so I'm sure that they are looking so hard, trying to see where they can find loopholes to bring in. It's just not even about headline announcements. Just go to the ports, right? Try to clear a vehicle and see the taxes and charges that go on it, right? It tells you how desperate the government is. Buy a cup of coffee, right? And see just take your bill. I think we're not akin to looking at our bills in Ghana. Buy a cup of coffee or a plate of food and look at your bill and look at the taxes that go into it. And it'll tell you how desperate, or it's revelationary of the fact that the government is very desperate.
And that is even places where they give you bills. Even the places where a lot of Ghanaians frequent, they are finding that the prices continue to rise. And
but you look at the basket prices or things that we put in the basket to measure inflation and whatever. You go to buy tomatoes, right, or a bag of tomatoes or a basket of tomatoes. The next day you go, the prices are different. Right. So let's not even speak at a very high level. Let's go to where we have everyone engaging. The average market woman, the food vendor, when they go to the market, the astronomic and the frequency, exponential changes in prices of basic staples like, or basic ingredients or vegetables and all of what we have in the market. It just tells you what kind of a situation we are in.
And of course, you pointed to the fact that we're going into an election. And this is a very interesting dynamic because former President Rawlings perhaps got his candidate. He tried, he failed. Former President Akufo-Addo didn't get the candidate he wanted to lead the party. And of course, another candidate led. We saw the amount of spending that went into it. When it came to, even when former President Mahama was having to do a re-election bid, can they avoid the expenditure, especially when you look at the desperation of this government to ensure they install their successor?
Well, it's probably going to be one of the biggest spending sprees of an election in the West Africa sub-region of, for that matter, the African continent. Why do you say this? You look at the just ended primaries, right? And look at the expenditure, or for that matter, the spending spree that went into it, and the emergence of the candidate and what he took home. You could see, for instance, that the party is divided, or for that matter, the ruling party. They tend to do much of the spending during election years in most parts of the world when that happens. You realize that he's been outrightly rejected by his party, even though, an argument would be made to the effect that he got a 61%. Well, historically, establishment candidates don't do that, or they don't perform around 61%. We're talking about a 75 to an 80%, or 80. That's as being charitable. In real terms, they have to do an 80 plus. But you take their own bastion or citadel, which is Bantama, and you find Kennedy Agyapong going head to head with the establishment candidate or the preferred candidate, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. And mind you, the sitting MP is a darling boy of the president. He's a former chief of staff. So that is like their backyard, and they ought to do well. You come to a cosmopolitan constituency such as Ayawaso West Wagon, where Ken is beating Bawumia. Right. So that is, the elite rejecting an elite candidate and going for a non-elitist candidate. So it tells you that the dynamics are very interesting. You look at the constituency, Swami, of the sitting leader or majority leader in parliament and leader of government business, can pull in 40+%, right, when they are supposed to be. So it tells you that the whip system and the amount of money spent did not still reflect on the polls. So what it means is that this is an internal contest, and look how much they've spent and invested and still doing 61. So what it tells you is that they'll have to up their expenditure game and unleash their entire arsenal when it comes to the national election. So spending is really going to be very massive. And if you are a watcher of the market or the political landscape, you would see the kind of businessmen that has jostled around this election. They're hedging their bets. So invariably, they'll say, okay, well, why don't we go all full throttle and spend as much as we can to see if we can get our candidate emerge as president come January 2024. Is that going to happen? That's for the good people of Ghana to decide. But for the spending, it's going to be massive. It's going to be a money spending machine.
What happens if government perhaps goes outside budgets and spends a lot of money perhaps on development projects to create an impression that they are working so that their candidates can work? What happens if they go way beyond budget and spend way more?
It is going to be very difficult as of now. And again, that would be a dangerous move to make because it will affect the economy. Mind you, if they're going to do that, these are going to go through tender processes, get awarded by contracts, and what have you. So it's not real spending. And this is a government that is known for its notoriety of not paying contractors. So they probably give mobilization of a 10% of the contract sum to a contractor. He goes to site 3 months down the line, he can't go again because it's not being paid. Right. So if they're going to resort to that, that's going to be a dangerous measure because they're going to take on all these projects. Inflation sets in. Prices of iron rod, cements, which are skyrocketing. The bills of quantities of these contracts have probably been pegged at a particular rate. Contractors go in and they start to bend their fingers. They're going to withdraw their services or halt their services. And it will be more dangerous than if things were left the way they are. So if they are really, which they would do, but again, this is going to have repercussions on the economy. The bite back would be hard. Because as we sit now, there's no donor-funded project that is existing where we would say this was probably going to happen, unless, of course, miraculously, some IMF or World Bank money begin to trickle in. It is just like them saying they have 40 million sitting at the Agric Ministry, which they're going to use to assist farmers in the Volta region. Then I ask a fundamental question. The flood has just ended. What needs assessments have you done to be able to establish scientifically that this water that has been contaminated will be habitable for, let's say, tilapia farming? Right? How arable are the lands, given how soaked water has been on this in the last couple of days leading up to a month or so, right? So if you don't do all these needs assessments and you sprinkle a $40 million around farmers and the likes of that, it just turns into handouts and it can't bring back anything into the economy. When governments go into investments, right, the fundamental issue is to have a return on investments. For example, you look at the Akufo-Addo gas plant, which was a loan, is paying itself back. You look at the airport, Terminal 3, which was a loan, is able to service itself. These are the kind of investments and landmark investments that we talk about when government goes in, right? Not to sprinkle money around that will bring in nothing at the end of the day. So you pump huge X amount of money in and nothing comes out of it. Yet you probably have a massive operational cost to it. In that case, what it means is that we're just sinking money into a hole or we're draining money through a basket.
Well, Prof, let me conclude on this note with you. I know, of course, we are all looking forward to improvements. What would you like to hear that will assure you that government is still interested in focusing on improving the state of the economy? What in the budget would you like to hear that will give you an inkling that government is still interested in the lives of the people and making things better?
Well, I want to see a restoration of confidence in the losses the central bank made, right? I want to see a restoration of confidence, right, that we get in this tranche and it's coming in good time. So it can prepare the mind of business people to reinvest in the economy to get it back. So this is a turbocharger. So it's a movement for the government. If they miss this opportunity in restoring confidence into the central bank, which probably got distracted in the last couple of months, then I think that it's going to be more problematic than we ever thought.
And I'm hoping we'll have a conversation after the budget is presented to do an assessment.
Right.
But thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you so much. Right. Thank you so much. Right. Good morning.
Good morning to you too. Dr. Sharif Mahmud Khalid, Associate Professor of Accounting and Financial Management at Sheffield University, UK, join us on the line. We have to take a break, then come back and speak to Professor John Gachi and Eugene Baweli. Both of them are lecturers. So today we are staying with the academia. Tomorrow we'll bring in studio. We're hoping to bring in studio as many as we can. Those we can't bring in studio will call to have a conversation on the budget. That's industry stakeholders. But first, let me remind you that if you're having trouble finding a litigation-free land to buy, and I've defined litigation for you, if this is the first time you are listening to us, in Accra, when they say litigation over land, it is not court always. Court is one. There could be beating up is litigation. They will beat you, there will be land guards on your land. That's part of litigation. There are people who have lost their lives, juju and everything. Everything is litigation. So when I talk about litigation-free land, I mean land, trouble-free land. If you're looking for trouble-free land, George Realty says I should tell you that they do the work. They go through the difficult work of getting you the right and most suitable location for your projects. Currently, they've gotten you a very good location at Chopoli, a few minute drive from the Saglami Affordable Housing Project off the Shiloh Road. They've good, very good location that you can site your house, your new house, or your business. Chopoli, few minute drive for Saglami Affordable Housing off the Shiloh Road. That's not all. After securing you this nice location, they are also giving you a discount on the amount of the price you are paying because it's Christmas. They've decided to make sure you enjoy the season and enjoy the season by investing wisely into land. So land that they are selling for 25,000, 70 by 100 plot, which are selling for 25,000 cedis, they are giving it to you at 20,000 cedis. 20,000 cedis. And beyond that, they're asking you to make a 30% deposit. Make a 30% deposit. Give them 30% of the 20,000 and then spread the rest over 6 months and pay. Once you've done that, that's all. And there's cash to it. If you decide to give them 20,000 cedis cash, they return 5% of that 20,000 cedis cash to you. That is the offer George Realty is giving you. And of course, if you want to take a look at the land, they have no problem. They arrange a site visit every Saturday at 7 a.m. Every Saturday at 7 a.m., they'll give you a free bus ride. They will charge you nothing for the bus ride. All you have to do is be at their office at Community 22 Afariwa Junction, near Tema International School off the Michelle Camp Road. Community 22 Afariwa Junction, near Tema International School off the Michelle Camp Road. That's where their office is located. Give them a call on these numbers: 0533 553266 or 0532 377 134 or 0532 377 135. They also offer other services such as building, surveying, property management, and they do architectural drawings for you. George Realty, of course, we are better together. And Tina Ted Venicare says to maintain proper hygiene as a lady during and after your menses, get Tina Ted Venicare from Tina Ted Herbal Center, pharmacy, or any herbal shop near you. There's the Tina Ted Venicare will help you maintain and improve your hygiene as a lady. They also have the Eftone 4 syrup for you. If you're a lady with periodic menstrual pain and cramps during that time of the month, quickly get Tina Ted Eftone 4 for the relief you have been looking for. Then, of course, they have the Tina Ted stomach mixture. If you're suffering from bloated stomach or tummy upset due to indigestion, then get Tina Ted stomach mixture to aid your digestion and relieve you from your stomach troubles. VB drops, the Tina Ted VB drops are also here to help you and your family to improve your general well-being. Take Tina Ted VB drops to always improve and support your immune system. Tina Ted products are available at all Tina Ted Herbal Centers, pharmacies, or herbal shops near you. For bulk purchase, visit Tina Ted Herbal Center at Okaishi Drug Lane or call 020-5180-012. You can visit them online, www.tinatedherbalonline.com, or follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Tina Ted Herbal. Don't forget VB drops, Tina Ted stomach mixture, Eftone 4 syrup, Tina Ted Venicare are not recommended for pregnant women, lactating mothers, and children below 12 years. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. We'll continue the conversation with the academia on the budget to expect on Wednesday.
Ready to conquer the day with the right energy? Drango! Introducing Drango Energy Drink, your ultimate source of vitality. Whether you're battling fatigue, seeking a boost, or savoring a refreshing energy kick, Drango is your answer. Drango! Featuring an iconic tiger symbol, Drango is the go-to choice for athletes, drivers, and all active go-getters. What sets Drango apart is our secret formula. A unique blend of vitamins B3, B5, B6, B12, all packed in a silver sporty bottle. Drango Energy Drink keeps you going. Drango! No fears, no limits.
Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended. Persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advert is FDA approved.
Masa, Madam, Mame Gobe 5 cedis.
No, me dofo. Ene koko sing.
Koko 3 cedis. Madam, Missy 5 cedis.
No, ma we am so. Ahadie, ye bin Let's say Betika.
Season, I said it. Because at Betika, the winning never stops. We are giving you a triple Aquaba bonus when you sign up. The biggest odds, amazing offers such as boosted odds, free bets on Mondays and Thursday, and so much more. Just go to betika.com or dial *263# on your jump phone to place your bet.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below age 18. Gaming can be addictive.
So the essence of my praise is centered on your grace.
My name is Diana Hamilton, VGMA Artist of the Year 2021 and brand ambassador of Awake Purified Drinking Water. I am super excited to partner with Ghana's first charity-driven water to give back to our communities. Awake is a brand that makes a difference. We impact the world around us. That is why for every bottle of Awake water you buy, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. Yes, every time you quench your thirst with a refreshing bottle of Awake, you're helping contribute to save lives. So keep drinking Awake Purified Drinking Water and let's continue making a difference. Awake Water, one for life, supporting the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is FDA approved.
Bushia, Ejuani Swadi Muse, Ubesi Dine, Awafi Mwana, Enye, Nami Kamfu Hat Builders Real Estate, Ede Amawo, Hat Builders Real Estate, Ejumekwa, one more Aton Tong and Sasi, one Sasi be a walk, Shy Hills, Tropoli, and Hafi, Ningo Pram Pram, and Nijisema Wawane say, one Sasia, a what Tropoli, and Ningo Pram Pram no, Yatetso, Ede about 15,000 Ghana cedis po, Umpewe, no pedien, for 20,000 Ghana cedis pe, Fabra, Nian and Sasia, Eda Shah Hills in the B, and Famao, Hat Builders Real Estate, one more sign Tontong, a Densi, any plumbing materials, BAB, one more architectural drawing, biofuel digester, borehole drilling, roofing, Hat Builders Real Estate, Echakwai, a war, a shaman, one Mandela Parkno, and a Dinshe anymore, for Hat Builders, a Wahumesu, 0591 599 006, Anna 0555 314 806. Hat Builders Real Estate, the future planners.
Doing gets you learning. Learning starts you wondering. Wondering triggers thinking. Thinking becomes planning. Planning evolves to trying. After trying, you're succeeding, winning, owning. Now, doing that starts with outdoing your limits. Outdo them all with MTN. So, what are we doing today?
The power and the glory. 90.5 FM.
Ask your students that question. Why is it that we ask that the debt levels be maintained at prudent levels? The reason is because if you do not manage your debt properly, it will affect your exchange rate, it will affect your interest rates, it will affect your inflation, it will affect your growth. Isn't that the case? You are managing the economy in a way to look at its impact on these variables: exchange rates, interest rates, inflation. When you teach economics, you have to ask your students that question. Why is it that we ask that the debt levels be maintained at prudent levels? The reason is because if you do not manage your debt properly, it will affect your exchange rate, it will affect your interest rates, it will affect your inflation, it will affect your growth. Isn't that the case? You are managing the economy in a way to look at its impact on these variables: exchange rates, interest rates, inflation.
That's theoretical, Baumia. Well, 80 minutes past 9. It's the time in the studios of Radio Gold 19.5 FM. Of course, if you just join us, the Gold Morning Conversation. My producers are Eric Boating, Patrick Asford Boedu. Facebook Live is by Alaska B. Well, we've joined on the line by Professor John Gachi, who is Dean of the University of Cape Coast Business School. We're speaking to him on his expectations of the 2024 budget. Prof, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I hope you're well, Prof.
By the grace of God.
Okay. So first, let's start with